Welcome back to JL Day, everyone. In today's episode, I want to break down all my picks for Week 8 in the NFL. I want to go through all the games and let you know who's going to win, who's going to lose, and by what score. Let's get into it. Let's kick off Week 8 with an absolute banger. The Rams are on the road, traveling to Jerry's World against the Cowboys. Rams are 3-4. Cowboys are 4-2, undefeated at home this year, and the Cowboys are minus 6-point favorites, and I tend to agree with that line. This week, the Rams play a tough Cowboys defense coming off a bye, and last week, they had a terrible loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers, 24-17. Kenny Pickett seemed to get right against the Rams, so I don't have a lot of confidence in that Rams defense. I think the Cowboys, being able to get healthy, they're going to come out swinging in this game, and they have to win this game. They can't fall to 4-3. If they fall to 4-3, you're pretty much letting the Eagles win the NFC East pretty easily. Stafford was terrible last week, guys. 14 for 29. Completing less than 50% of his passes, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 231 yards. Yikes. The Dallas Cowboys are 9-3 in their last 12 home games versus the Rams. And the Cowboys also have the longest active home winning streak at 10 games. Their offensive line is starting to get healthy. I like the Cowboys to win this game 27-17. Next, we move to the Vikings traveling to Green Bay to play the Packers. Kirk Cousins had a great game last week, upsetting San Francisco 49ers on Monday night. They're 3-4, 2-1 on the road, and the Packers are 2-4, 1-1 at home. I like the Vikings to win this game, but I don't think he's going to be as successful as he was last week. You're outside, you're in Green Bay, the weather's starting to get a little bit colder. Minnesota is minus 1.5 point favorites. The spread is pretty small. I like the Vikings to win this game. Kirk Cousins is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL right now. If you look at his stats, they're quite remarkable. He's first in touchdown passes with 16. He's been very, very impressive. He's number 1 in completions with 193, and he's second in yards with 2,057. And last week he had 0 sacks, so that offensive line is getting healthy. I like the Vikings to beat that young, inexperienced Jordan Love and the Packers at home. Next, we have Atlanta on the road playing the Tennessee Titans. I feel like the Titans are kind of packing it in for the year. There's trade rumors about DeAndre Hopkins, about Derrick Henry. They just traded one of their best defensive players in Kevin Byard at safety position. I'm not a huge fan of Atlanta. I don't know what the hell's going on with Bijan Robinson. Is he going to play? Is he not going to play? Last week he didn't play. I think he played 1 snap or something like that. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of their quarterback position, but Ryan Tannehill might not play. Will Levis looks like he's going to get the start at quarterback. The Tennessee Titans, however, and Mike Vrabel, their coach, they've won 7 games in a row coming off a bye, which is very impressive. Atlanta did beat Tampa Bay last week 16-13. That kind of surprised me. Tampa Bay kind of played like shit, but Atlanta, they don't make a ton of mistakes. They are, however, playing back-to-back road games, so that's never easy in the NFL. I think this is going to be a close game, a low-scoring game. I'm going to go with Atlanta 17-14. Next, we have the Saints traveling to Indianapolis to play the Colts. Both teams are 3-4. The Colts are pretty terrible at home, though, 1-3, so they don't really have a home field advantage. But Derek Carr is Bush. The Saints' offensive line is not very good at all whatsoever, but either is Gardner Minshew. He played a little bit better last week. He did have over 300 yards passing, which was impressive. 2 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns. Minshew is going to give you 150% every single game, which I like. And Derek Carr is the opposite of that. He's complaining. He's bitching. He's saying everyone else on the team sucks when he is the one who actually sucks. I'm not a Derek Carr fan. I've never been a Derek Carr fan. I can't go with Derek Carr. I mean, I like the Saints defense, but I think the Colts upset New Orleans and win this game at home. New Orleans has the 21st ranked offense, 7th ranked defense, and the Colts somehow have the 6th ranked offense, which is absolutely crazy. But their defense blows. They're ranked 30th. Derek Carr, I don't know, man. I would never pay him all that money they did for him to come there. He doesn't make the team better. He's just an average to below average quarterback. I like Gardner Minshew. I'm going for Minshew Mania to get a W. Close game, 21-20 Colts. Next up, we have a division rivalry of epic proportions. The Patriots coming off that huge win against Buffalo last week against the Dolphins, who lost to the Eagles. The Patriots are 2-5. The Dolphins are 5-2. They are undefeated at home, 3-0. And the Miami Dolphins are a monster, 9.5-point favorite, which is pretty huge. 2 of 15 touchdowns to 6 interceptions, almost 2,100 yards on the season. Tua has looked really, really, really good. Mac Jones had the best game of the season, 25 of 30, 272, 2 touchdowns, no picks. And it seems like New England's defense is getting a little bit healthier, which is really good. In the first 6 games of the year, the Patriots only averaged 12 points a game, 282 yards of total offense, and 11 turnovers. Yikes. Statistically speaking, the numbers aren't in favor of the Patriots at this game whatsoever. Tua is 5-0 versus the Pats, and New England has lost 8 of their last 10 games in Miami. I think it's going to be a close game. The Patriots are getting a little bit healthier. We'll see if Mac Jones can continue his success from last week against Buffalo. I think Mac Jones sucks. He's got terrible arm strength. He can't throw the ball outside the numbers. He's terrible at making decisions. And if the Dolphins go out to a big lead and Mac Jones is forced to throw the ball 35, 40 times, I like the Dolphins to win this game 27-20. Next up, we have the Jaguars traveling on the road to Pittsburgh. Both teams are coming off wins. The Jags beat New Orleans and Pittsburgh beat the Rams. We have 2 teams that really need wins here, man, to move forward. But I do like that the Jaguars had a little bit of extra time off playing last Thursday to get healthy. And the Jaguars, their defense is really good against the run. So that's going to force Kenny Pickett to throw the ball more than I think they want him to throw the ball. The Steelers are most successful when they run the ball effectively and they can kind of play action off a quality run game. But I think they stuff the run, the Jaguars defense. They force Kenny Pickett to throw. He's going to turn the ball over a little bit, and I think the Jaguars can capitalize with that extra time off. Trevor Lawrence is going to be able to get a little bit healthier, give that knee some time to rest, and I like the Jaguars to win this game 21-17. Then we have the Eagles going on the road to play the Commanders. The Commanders have looked absolutely terrible as of late. The Eagles moved to 6-1 with that big-time victory over a very good Dolphins team. The Eagles are 7-point favorites. I think they cover that spread pretty easily. The Eagles have won 10 of their last 13 games versus Washington. Sam Howell has been sacked an insane 40 times this season. And the sack yards lost, almost 300 yards this team has lost from sacks. Howell has a 9 touchdown to 7 interception ratio. Yikes. The Eagles have the number 1 rush defense in the NFL. They're only allowing 62.9 yards per game. So that means Sam Howell's going to have to throw the ball. And when Howell throws the ball too much, they turn the ball over. I look for the Eagles to get a pretty easy W here. 31-10 Eagles. Next up, we have the battle of the number 1 picks. The Houston Texans go on the road to face the 0-6 Carolina Panthers. CJ Stroud has done a very good job protecting the football this year. And Carolina just changed their play callers, and that's never a real good sign. I mean, if you look at their numbers comparatively, CJ Stroud, 1,660 yards, 127 for 213, 59%, which is not great, but for a rookie, it's not too bad considering he has a 9-1 touchdown to interception ratio. He has been sacked 13 times, but man, Bryce Young has struggled epically. 115 completions to 182 attempts, only 967 yards, 6 touchdowns, 4 picks, 16 sacks. Ay caramba. I like for Houston to win a low-scoring game, 17-14. Texans get the road victory. And we move on to the afternoon games. We have the 4-2 Browns versus the 4-2 Seahawks. The Browns narrowly escaped the Colts last week, 39-38. Whew. I don't know what's happening with the quarterback position. Is Deshaun Watson going to play? Is he not going to play? Every week, you have no idea if he's playing or not. The Seahawks are hit or miss. Some weeks they play good, some weeks they play bad. But at home, it's always tough playing in Seattle. I don't know why, but that fan base really gets behind this team, and the weather's kind of funny there. So I like Seattle at home. Geno Smith isn't having the best season, but he's okay. Almost 1,400 yards passing, 7 touchdowns to 4 picks. Neither team is like really offensively empowered at this point in the year. So I think it's going to be a turnover game. Whoever turns the ball over least is going to win this game. I think it's going to be a dogfight. I think, I don't know. I'm going 21-17 Seahawks. Next, we go to the Chiefs traveling to Denver to play the Broncos. The Broncos are an abomination. Their defense is horrible. Their offense can't move the ball. Russell Wilson, they paid him all that money to suck donkey balls. Yikes. The line's only 7 points. I'm taking the Chiefs and the points for sure. Chiefs get the victory 30-13. Then we have another blowout game. The Ravens, who absolutely blew the brakes off the Detroit Lions last week, play a terrible 1-6 Cardinals team. They're injured. They don't have a good team. They don't have a good coach. -9.5 point favorites for the Ravens. 28-10 Ravens. Faux show. Then we move on. Bengals at the 49ers. The Bengals are super inconsistent. They do have a good pass rush, though. So the 49ers have back-to-back losses to bad teams. They lost to the Vikings and they lost to the Browns. They're not healthy. They're not playing well. I'm going with an upset here. The Bengals go on the road to beat San Francisco in a close game, 21-14 Bengals. I think Joe Burrow is slowly getting more healthy, and Brock Purdy looked so bad against the Vikings last week in that very blitz-heavy defense of the Vikings. I look for the Bengals to blitz the shit out of Brock Purdy, force him to make bad throws, and they get the W. Then on Sunday Night Football, we have the Bears versus the Chargers. Herbert in his last 3 games, not good. 4 touchdowns, 4 picks, no Justin Fields. Tyson Bagent is an undrafted rookie quarterback. So I like for the Chargers to get right here. This isn't going to be an exciting game. It's going to be a very college football-esque, sloppy football game, 17-14 Chargers. Then we move on to Monday night. We have the Raiders on the road versus the Lions. I like the Lions to get right at home here. They're 5-2 this season. The Raiders looked terrible last week. I like the Raiders a little more if Jimmy Garoppolo plays, but I doubt that he plays. I like the Lions here for sure. That's it, guys. That wraps up Week 8. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate you guys watching these videos, listening to my breakdowns. It means a lot to me. If you could hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, it would mean even more. Thank you so much for your support, and we'll catch you guys next week. Peace.